Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dheeraj Chaudhary and I welcome you to the live stream. Today I have Mike Chambers with me and we are going to talk about AI. And in this AI session, we are going to talk a lot about AWS PartyRock, foundational models. And to talk about this, we have a special guest who is Mike Chambers. And Mike Chambers is the guy who is the Gen AI Specialist Developer Advocate from Amazon itself, that is AWS. And I'm really happy that he took out some time and he's not in his time zone still late night. He is here to come and take questions from you guys. So I think this is the best opportunity to have such a great person to with us and doing the live AMA where if you have any queries in regards to AI or something, people can come and ask their questions. So without wasting much time, let me get Mike live with us. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Dheeraj. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really do appreciate it. It's fantastic to be here.
So thank you, Mike, for joining. And today, as I was talking to my audience, we are going to talk about generative AI. We are going to talk about AWS PartyRock. And I think that is the best niche that you are all into. So I don't think so. I have to come up with questions. You will automatically start talking about it because you have so much of R&D that you keep on doing from your end into this specific space. But to get started, Mike, can you share your journey, how you got into the space of Gen AI, how you started, and what your journey?
Okay. So I won't go too far back, but a few years ago now, I found myself working with machine learning. Do you remember that? That's the kind of thing that we used to do before generative AI was a thing. So machine learning, putting machine learning models together, building models, making predictions, that kind of thing. And I worked on quite a number of projects, and I also helped people to train up for AWS certification to do with that, all that kind of stuff. And a couple of years ago, I started working for AWS. So a lot of people seem to think that I've been working for AWS for like 10 years or something like that. I've been working with AWS for that amount of time, but I've only been actually working for AWS for about 2 and a bit years. So about 2 and a bit years ago, I joined AWS as a developer advocate. It's an amazing role. It's such a privilege to have. And what I do is I spend my time experimenting and playing and being like the first customer for loads of different services. And I joined as a machine learning specialist. So I played around a lot with SageMaker and training up models. But I also spent a lot of my time out with community groups. So at meetups on things like this and going to conferences and listening to developers who were using machine learning services, whether they were on AWS or not, and then understanding more about what people wanted to do and what they liked and what they didn't like. So I could work with the service teams inside of AWS to make sure that what we're delivering is what people want. And so I was doing that. And you may have noticed a couple of years ago, this whole generative AI thing sort of just exploded. And it was around about the time of a reInvent a couple of years ago. And I just finished doing all of the sort of like SageMaker kind of things and presenting all of that stuff. And then it became really clear that I needed to switch my focus because it was quite close to generative AI. And so at the beginning of the following year, I was really fortunate to be invited to work on a course with deep learning AI with Antia and some of my colleagues at AWS, where in order to do that, this course was going deep on large language models. And in order to do that, we had to dive really deep into the technology, read a lot of white papers, did a lot of experimentation, had a lot of very late nights discussing exactly how this technology worked. And we produced the large language model course. I think it was the first course of its type that was released. It's still out there now. It's still very popular. And working alongside Dr. Andrew Ng, of course. And that's where it all started. And I haven't stopped since then. It's just been generative AI has been my entire life since then. And it's been an amazing privilege to do that.
You're talking Dr. Andrej, who is running the deep AI learning community. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
That's right. Yeah. So so Andrew Ng's been in the machine learning space for a very, very long time. He's a luminary in the industry. There's no other way of putting it. And he runs multiple things, but one of the things he runs is deeplearning.ai, which is their site. Loads and loads of training on there suitable for AI engineers and for data scientists, machine learning engineers, and things like that. So there's a bunch of free courses on there. And since that course that I put up, I've worked on a number of other courses. So there's 3 courses I now have up on that platform that I would say are well worth a check out. So worth having a look at.
Okay,
so
sure.
yeah.
So meanwhile, while we are talking, by any chance, if you have any codes handy that you would like to share with the audience, I'm really happy to have that. If you can put that in the chat so people can leverage that specific courses that you are talking about.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I can do that. I can
Yes,
send you a link right now. So I don't know if I send you that link, that link that I've just sent to you. I don't know if you can share that with the viewers.
Yes.
It's blatantly just my courses, but it's the courses which I was just talking about. And the 2 short courses are totally free courses, and definitely worth checking out, because you get an AWS environment for free through these courses, so that you can actually experiment with Amazon Bedrock, which is pretty cool.
So Mike, can I? Okay, you sent me in a private chat. That's why I was not able to see.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know.
Share it with the audience so that
where best to put it.
Leverage that. Perfect. Yes. So it's here. So Mike, so coming back to the topic that we are here for. So let's talk about AWS PartyRock. So let me give you a background, what exactly we were doing. So I started a series last week, which is AWS PartyRock. So before PartyRock, our series was on to prompt engineering, where we started from the basics, where we understood what is prompt engineering, its framework, and how it works. Then we moved towards the advanced part by using some prompt engineering frameworks like chain of thoughts, zero shot, few shot prompts, role-based, and context-based prompt. So now, as the audience know more about prompt engineering, we are going to transition towards a playground where we can understand how this prompt engineering helps us to interact with the AI models. So we picked the best platform that we understood is this that we are right now having, that is AWS PartyRock, where you can choose the models that you want as part of the AI powered widgets that we have. So, and we have been experimenting with that. I dropped few videos for zero shot prompt and created a app like document summarizer app, then cloud cost optimization, which is again a very useful app if people want to get some guidance towards cloud cost optimization. They can use that specific app and go through it, give their inputs, and it will help you with some steps which can guide you that how you can optimize your cloud cost based on the input that you have given. So now this is what is the background. So today I would like you to...
Can I just say, I know I've been watching as well, so I know everybody should be watching this. It's great, and if you haven't been watching it up until this point, you should go back. Not now, but you should go back and watch and catch up. So yeah.
Yes, not now. So now I would like you to share your input towards AWS PartyRock, how people should use it, what should be their mindset, because nowadays I have seen people mindset for using AWS PartyRock is it is just an Gen AI powered app, but I think people don't understand it is a playground where they can test their prompt engineering knowledge. They can leverage it. So for example, if I'm a student, I want to create a timetable of mine and something, I can create my app, give my input, and that is so interactive for me. I can use a guide to help me chalk down my points, to help me in mathematics, because I think Amazon Nova, which was released, it is having a very good benchmark score for mathematics, as well as we have Claude 3.5 available over there. So that shift of mindset, I think you are the right person who can bring into the audience. So I leave it up to you, Mike, to
Okay.
take it over.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, look. Yeah. PartyRock is it's an awesome tool. I remember when it came out, thinking, it's a bit of a toy. I don't know. But then I started to use it, and it's like, actually, it is a bit of a toy, but you can also get really sophisticated with it. So there's lots of depth to it. I also I present quite a lot all over the world. I present, and sometimes I present PartyRock, and I present it to audiences of seasoned developers, people who even have got some knowledge of generative AI already, and they also find it really useful. So it's if you've already taken a look at it, or if you've not taken a look at it yet, I encourage you to dive back in and take a look. It's completely free. That's the great thing about it. So it means that you can just relax and experiment without being concerned that there's like a bill running up somewhere. So that's really cool, and it's pretty colors as well. I like the colors.
The color theme is very powerful, and
Yes,
it's very fresh, I would say. It gives a fresh perspective of using it.
it does. My kids like it a lot because it's very straightforward to use. It's super colorful. It's totally free, and there are easy ways to use it, and there are more sophisticated ways to use it as well. So there's quite a lot to it. And I've built apps with it, a number of apps. So you asked me to sort of describe about it and what you can use it for. You can definitely use it for experimentation. The one thing I would say is don't necessarily load up lots of your sensitive data in there. If you do work for an organization, there are other tools that you can use in that organization to make sure that you're keeping your private data secure, etc. This is more for experimentation, for playing around and seeing what the generative AI models can do, and then giving a playground to experiment with different concepts that you might have as well.
Yes. So I have the same mindset, Mike. So for example, suppose if there is a new foundational model which has been released, it's difficult for people to go towards the benchmark and understand what this model is capable of. So now you have a PartyRock playground where get that model in AI powered widget, test whatever you want. So that's what I did. So when Amazon Nova was released, what I did is I created a PartyRock app where I took one widget which was user input for for the topic that I want to summarize. Then I took 3 AI powered text generation widget. One was Claude, the other one was Amazon Nova Lite, and the next one was Amazon Nova Micro. Then I ran it, and everybody was generating the output. Then I compared the output, that which models gives me the best output that I'm looking for. So
Perfect.
This kind of testing can be done free of cost, where I have seen many people writing to me saying that, Dheeraj, I was actually testing this on Amazon Bedrock. They directly go to Amazon Bedrock, they enable the models, they copy the model, and they, instead of testing, they sometimes start fine tuning, or they do some stuff, and it cost a lot of bill. That is the reason I was advocating that use this playground. What's your
Start
thought
with
on it?
PartyRock. Start with PartyRock. Look, Amazon Bedrock is very, very capable. It is very, very powerful and very, very capable. You can do these things with that tool as well. But yeah, that's where you go when you've made a decision that you're getting towards wanting to do something in production and building your own app. So to start with, if you want to experiment, or maybe you've built something already and now you're building the next thing, maybe start with PartyRock. That's totally reasonable thing to do. You mentioned something just a second ago though as well. You mentioned benchmarks, and so this is a little gripe that I have here with benchmarks. We need to make sure that we're understanding what benchmarks are and how benchmarks are useful. So when new models come out, they come out fairly regularly, and we have these tables of benchmarks that give us these numbers which represent how intelligent the models are, and broadly speaking, how good they are at certain tasks. And that's fine, But we just need to remember that there is no benchmark out there which represents the use case that you have, not exactly. And that's fine. That's kind of by design. So take a look at the benchmarks, just quickly glance at them, and then you need to start to get into testing the models. So there are things that we are interested in. We're interested in things like the context length. We're interested in the modality and how they work. So the things that you find on the card of the model is this thing we're interested in. But really quickly, we need to get to the point where we're actually testing the models and we're experimenting with the models against the kind of use case that we have, because we're all unique, and the models never worked with that kind of stuff before. So that's just a little word about benchmarks, and again reinforcing your point of why PartyRock's a great place to start out.
Okay.
And so what we hear, we got the we've got
So this is so this is the benchmark. Yeah, this is the benchmark of official website that we have from AWS. So this is the 3 FM models that they have released, that is Micro, Lite, and Pro. So as we were talking about benchmarks, so I thought of, as you were talking about benchmarks, so I thought of showing the audience what benchmarks are.
I was only talking about benchmarks because you mentioned benchmarks, but yes. But absolutely. And so look, these benchmarks, they're totally fine. What these benchmarks tell me is, whoa, look at this. This is really worth checking out. Okay, so if I have an application that I want to build, it's really worth me checking out the Nova models, because look, these scores, they're pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into experimentation and start seeing, if I'm prompting it with what I want, does it work well for me? It probably does. So then you can start to say, okay, well, what size do I need? And you can start to figure out how you're going to select the model that's going to work for you.
Perfect, Mike. That's what I wanted to share, and you are spot on onto it. That it's difficult to understand based on the benchmark score. So that's why I said that when I saw this benchmark score, I was like, how I will understand if Amazon Nova really works. So I used AWS PartyRock, where I did text generation to see if it can solve mathematical problems, and I also tried to generate some Python code generation. So to be honest, I tried both Lite and Micro, and I found Micro more powerful compared to Lite. So Lite is not that accurate compared to Micro. So that's what on the playground I was testing. So that is just one of the example that I wanted to talk about. So also, Mike, as we have spoke so much about foundational models, the latest release models from AWS, that is Amazon Nova, the 3 models. Do you want to share some input about what this Amazon Nova foundational model is? What is this idea all about, and how it is going to make an impact?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Amazon Nova, they're the models from Amazon that were released or announced at reInvent just gone, which is the last time that we actually met in person, was in Vegas at reInvent. Yeah. So they were released there and they were announced there. Huge surprise. Very, very few people knew about it. So it's one of those very, very exciting things to happen, right? And these are state-of-the-art foundation models that Amazon has developed, and they are super efficient, right? Because they're running inside of Amazon. It's one of those things, right? So if you own the hardware stack and you know how the hardware stack works, and we have a Trainium and Inferentia platforms that we can use, then the teams get to use that hardware and make them super optimal. So they are very price performant, and they are optimized to work inside the AWS environment. So yeah, very exciting models, and definitely worth checking out if you're building an application. So it has, as you said already, there's the Amazon Nova Micro model. It's a text-only model. It's super small. There's definitely that we can talk at length about use cases for these things, but the micro model being small means that it's probably very fast for the application that you have. It's also very low cost as well. It might not have the, it might have a limited intelligence, if you like, but many applications only require limited intelligence. Now, there are other reasons why you might want to use this as well. We'll maybe loop back on that later. Then stepping up from there, Nova Lite. So Nova Lite is where we actually start to increase the modalities that we have. Now, they're text models, as in that they output text, but Nova Lite can also take as an input image and video, which is huge, right? So you can take image input, so you're not just asking the model a question with natural language, but you can send an image and natural language to ask your question, which is super powerful. Anthropic have had this for a while. Other models have had it for a while. Now Nova Lite has it in there as well. So it's there. We'll have to go and have a look at the model cards at some point, have a look at the context size and all that kind of stuff. We can step up from that again. And then we get to Amazon Nova Pro, which you've got on screen now as well. And Nova Pro, it's very similar to Lite, apart from it's now a larger model. So it has more intelligence to it. It's going to be a bit more expensive. It's going to be a little slower than Lite, but it's more capable. And so what it means here is you have choice. You shouldn't just go for the biggest model you can ever find, because it'll cost you more than maybe you need. So you can evaluate these different models, and whichever one works for you, you can start to work with that one. Now, what was also announced at reInvent was Amazon Nova Premier as well. And as it says on the screen that you have there, coming soon. So it's coming soon. It's the premier model, if you like. It's the most capable. It's multimodal. It's for complex reasoning tasks. Now, it's also going to be very good as a teacher model. Now, that's starting to get a little bit more in depth with how these models can work. But remember I said back at the beginning when we were looking at Nova Micro, it's a small model. It's perfectly capable enough of many different workflows, but it's also something that we could use and fine tune our own model, distill a model into a Nova model. So we could take something like Premiere and use the intelligence of the Premiere model when it arrives to help us create our own custom distilled model to work for us, which is the micro model. Now, I've said a lot of things there. There's a lot of things we can do. The main takeaway here is that there's options. You've got the different sizes of models for the different kinds of workloads that you might want to do.
So one quick thing, Mike. So over here it says Amazon Nova Canvas coming soon, but I have already been using it on PartyRock.
Right. Yes. So I think it's the fine tuning support is coming soon for Nova Canvas. Is it that? And fine tune support is coming soon for Real as well. So yeah, so Canvas is the image generation and Real is the video generation, which is fun to play around with, I have to say. I think so. If you think back to when generative AI kind of kicked off as a thing, image generation was one of the first things that people started to get really hooked into. And it's remained that thing that's sort of been there, that it's kind of fun. There are certain use cases which it's super powerful. Most of us end up just using images inside of our PowerPoint presentations. Like, you literally can't have a PowerPoint presentation without a generated image. That seems to be the rules, if you see what I mean. So they're fun, right? And Canvas is fun and Real is fun. For me personally, I'm just going to say these text-based models are really where the real value is right now. It's because through the generation of text is where we get sort of reasoning, the intelligence, the thinking, and actual sort of business value and social value, beyond just the creation of something, but actually starting to process and think and reason and react to things. That's where I personally get more excited. And then I use things like Canvas and Real to apply some glitter to it and make it look kind of fancy as well. Is that fair?
Yes. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that. So, Mike, now let's talk about the PartyRock
That looks like a
thing.
fun fishing trip.
Yeah, I'm trying to remove it. Oh,
You removed
okay.
me
Oh,
instead.
yeah, I removed you by mistake. So I was trying to.
All good,
It's
all
okay.
good, all good.
It's okay. So, Mike, I think it's time for you to take over and show some apps that you are interested to share with the audience,
Sure,
which the magic of GenAI powered app.
of course. Yeah, I can show
So,
you what I've got in PartyRock. Yeah, I've been using PartyRock for a long time. As I said, part of my job is I get to play around with some of these things, and indeed, I was playing around with PartyRock before it was even launched. And I also have made some videos about it on the AWS Developer YouTube channel as well. And you'll see, if you've seen that, we can actually dive into some of the apps that I showed on there. Look, you've seen PartyRock already on this channel, so I don't need to sort of introduce it. I'm just going to go and jump into my apps. Here are the 3 apps I have. Now, I fluctuate, right? I create apps just for demonstration purposes, but I always keep these 3 apps here because they're kind of my favorite. I'm going to start off with something simple because, if you haven't used PartyRock before, let's just keep it simple to start with. This is my pet's superhero name generator. So I'm going to click on here, and you'll notice actually it's been viewed and used a lot because this is actually one of the apps which is linked on one of the YouTube videos that we've got. Let's have a look at this now. You were actually showing me something about this just the other day. If I click on edit here, is this where I get to see? Yeah,
no,
I think, no, this
not
isn't
yet.
where it is.
So if you go,
Yeah,
see on the top, my pet's name, there is a setting button over there. Yeah.
this one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I just pressed. It's not coming up here, is it? I think maybe because this is one of the very, very
So,
early Mons. It doesn't. I was hoping I could find the actual the
no.
prompt that I used for it. It would
I
have
can
been super simple.
I can answer that. Actually, that
Oh yeah.
thing that you are not able to see because you have maybe created it manually by using drag and drop of
Yeah,
widgets.
do you know, I might have done actually. I don't
Yes.
remember with this one. It was such a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So just to fill in the holes there. Obviously, when you start this, you can generate an app from a prompt, or you can come in and you can create one manually. And I think maybe I created it manually. I don't, and then in which case I can't get back to the prompt. I actually didn't know you could get back to the prompt, and you showed me this a couple of days ago, which I'm very grateful for. So on other apps that can happen. Anyway, let me talk about this. So this is my pet's superhero name generator. The idea is I have a pet and I want to imagine what its superhero alter ego might be. Let's just have a go with it, and then we can see how it works. So I'm going to type in my pet's name. So this is my pet's normal name. I have a dog called Sparky. So I'm going to put Sparky in there. A description: describe your pet's personality in a few words. Fun, yappy, sleepy nowadays, getting a bit old, if I'm honest. Favorite superheroes. So
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, clearly. Yeah, just leave it as the Flash. So this is just going to be used for inspiration, right? Okay, so there's a couple of different
No
superhero
Superman.
ideas. No,
Okay.
well, look, I've got one from whatever. I've got one from Marvel and I've got one from
Event. Yeah.
DC, right?
DC. Okay.
So
Okay.
we're balanced.
That's fair.
All right, I'm going to press run. And so what it does over here, very, very simple, right? The output is very simple. It's come out with the snooze zoomer. Okay. So, all right, hang on. I should have put dog in here. Hang on, let me put dog. Dog, because otherwise Sparky will get offended. So it's assumed a cat at the moment, and it came out with the snooze zoomer. Let's try that again. I've clicked the generate button down the bottom one more time. And let's have a look.
I was also surprised, like what kind of dog it is. Oh, again cat.
Apparently it's a cat type of dog. I don't know what's going on with this. This is very strange. Maybe I put it says personality.
Just write dog.
I'm going to write dog. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Let's try.
This is the fun of generative AI, folks. This is what happens. Let's try one more
This is
time.
what happens on live stream.
Absolutely. Oh, it only happens on live stream. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I think this shouldn't be the personality. I think this should be, because he's actually a poodle. So this is a little bit over the top for him as well. But you see, it's come out with a superhero name, Volt Streak. I'm just going to do one more. I'm kind of addicted to doing this. The Poor Bolt, and it's regenerating an image for us. Let's see if it gets a little bit more like him. No, it's still not a poodle, but it's still a pretty powerful looking super dog. All right, let's take a quick look. And you've looked at this kind of thing before. The thing that's really awesome about PartyRock is that you do get to work on prompt engineering as well as coming up with awesome names for your dog. So I click this edit button here, and what we get here is this prompt template. And so this is the prompt template that I've got here. So come up with a creative superhero name for pet name. And so it's going to bring that variable in based on their personality, description of pet description, and favorite superheroes. Just provide one name and no reason why. So this is prompt engineering. So you talked about a number of different ways that you can do prompt engineering. With PartyRock, because I can't actually pass the string and I can't do string manipulation in this because it's a bit simple at the moment, what I do here is say, just provide one name and no reason why. If I don't have that there, it will say, oh, I've chosen the name something, and this is why I've done it. And it'll tell us all about it, which can be handy. But in this particular case, I just want it to just produce the name. And then in the prompt template that I've got for the generating the image, I can say a portrait of a superhero pet called, and then I can bring the name in. And now I'm linking together two widgets here. So the prompt template I have for the image references the output that we got from the text generation. And this is where things start to get super powerful, being able to link these different things together. So look, that's super simple one, right? The prompt templates are pretty simple as well. Maybe I should jump into one that's a bit more complicated. This is what I started to work on this news blog writer, because as part of my team, the people I work with write the AWS news blog. Hopefully you've seen it. I mean, you should definitely check it out weekly, if not daily, because that's where you'll find all of the new announcements, right? And so they're very carefully researched, and it takes a lot of effort to put them together because they're really important news blogs. However, I decided, because my colleague was writing them, I was like, do you know what? I reckon I could get PartyRock to write news blog articles. Let's see if we can do that. So let's have a look at the news blog writer. Now, this one's more comprehensive. It's got a lot more going on. So we'll take a look at some of the differences here in a minute. But this allows me to launch a brand new AWS service. So I think this is fun. I have a favorite demo that I like to do for this. So this is going to be the Elastic T service, because T is super important. Oh man, I've got to be able to type at the same time. Service. Okay. And I remember actually you and I sitting in the lobby of a hotel, and you introduced me to proper chai tea. That was the first time I'd had proper chai tea, and I thank you for that. I am very much a fan of tea.
It was masala tea, Indian masala tea.
Was masala tea? I apologize. Yeah. Yes, it was. It was delicious. It was fantastic. It wasn't the first one I'd had, but it was by far the best I'd had. And so it was awesome. Anyway, that was Pune. It was in Pune. Anyway, so what's the service does? This is an API for brewing tea for a busy developer. Okay, developer. Okay, so this is the service that I want to release. So there are a couple of different things in here, which is just some data in there. That's fine. Now I'm going to do something which you've covered off before. You covered off few shot prompting. And so what I'm going to do here, what this tool gives me, what this PartyRock application gives me, is the opportunity to insert the shots, the few shots. And so I actually get to upload 3 example posts. So what I've got is the text from some actual news blog articles that were written. So if I just click here, can I preview? Yeah, well, you can barely see that. I don't know if I can. No, I can't zoom in very well. But basically, this is text from a news blog article. So I'm going to include it there. And I've got 3 of these, which I prepared earlier. So I can upload all of those. So now my application, well, what does it know? It knows the name of the service. It knows what the service does, briefly, in a very brief sentence. It's got this extra data, which I decided to include. It knows what regions the thing's going to launch in, and it's got examples of posts, so it knows what the post might have to look like. Let's give it a go. Let's press run. We can take a look at the prompt engineering in a minute. So it's currently generating. And if you're familiar with the news blog, this is remarkably like a news blog article. So let's have a look, see what it says. Introducing Amazon Elastic Tea Service, a fully managed API for brewing tea. Perfect. It's even got the parts, the links that aren't actually in there. Anyway, today we're excited to announce the launch of the Amazon Elastic Tea Service, Amazon ETS. You heard it here first, folks. A fully managed service that provides APIs for brewing tea, designed specifically for the busy developers. And on it goes. That's awesome. I love this. Look, it's even got a code sample of how to use the Elastic Tea Service. I think it's fun. Now this is working on what you might call a British tea with Earl Grey. This is probably the kind of thing I'd be brewing here. But it's got temperature. I'm not sure I agree with this, actually. I think that should be 100. But anyway, we're not getting into the details of tea brewing here, right? Anyway, it's got it all down there. The pricing, the region availability, getting started. I love this. So all of that was completely generated just now. And there's more. So I also want to have an image that goes along with this blog post. And so this is the image that's been created. What I would love to do now is just jump into a little bit of the prompt engineering to show you how this works, because there's some interesting things that happens here. So let me click on show configuration for the blog post itself. And the first thing that I think is sort of hits you when you look at this is that it's actually really long. So there's a tip for anybody who's starting to do this. Don't be shy about including a lot of information in your prompt. Now, it does depend on what model you're using and what context size you have, but be specific. Think about prompt engineering as in you're writing some explicit instructions to somebody you know so that they will be able to follow them. And remember, if you don't put it in the instructions, then it doesn't know it, and it won't be able to follow those instructions, or the person won't be able to, and neither will the app. So I've put a lot of instructions in here. Another tip I have to say is that you can actually use PartyRock to write prompts for PartyRock. So you can use a large language model to help you write a prompt. We can explore that in a little bit more in a bit if you want. This prompt here was written by Claude for Claude. So, if it's writing it for itself, then it's probably going to be better structure than I put together. So there's a whole bunch of details. I'm not even going to get into this, but it says, don't forget to include this. Don't forget to include that. And then we've got some where the examples sit. So here are some example posts, and here is some other information. Another tip, is this okay? Stop me if I'm going on too much, but I want to show you another tip here. And I wonder
that is what we are looking for. Please go ahead.
Good, because have you talked about this before, maybe in a different live stream? But this idea here of these XML prompts, this is something that is actually really quite useful, especially with Anthropic models, which this one is using, but also you can do this. I do this with Nova as well. So the idea here is that I want to include example post 1 in here, but I don't exactly know what's inside there. What if the article that I've got is actually about prompt engineering and it's got examples of prompts? All of a sudden, we have this potential for an equivalent of like a SQL injection attack type thing. In other words, the model, when it's going through the data that it's got, it might not know exactly where this example post starts and stops. So what I do is I wrap it in this XML tag, and that gives the model the best clue that we can give it to suggest where our post is going to start and where it's going to stop, where the next one starts and stop, et cetera, et cetera. If we don't have that, this could start to get a bit confusing for the model. Again, imagine that you're looking at this text. Would you be able to read it? And if you can, and if you can understand it, then there's a good chance the model can too. Then we just have these extra things, service names, what it does, and all those things. They're much simpler pieces of text, so it's much easier just to put those in. We don't necessarily need XML tags. So that's it. That's how it wrote it. Then we've got the widgets that link off of that. Now, ultimately, what I want to have happen here is I want to have an image be generated, which it's done. But if I put this whole blog post into the image generation model, it would probably just fall over. It'd probably be too long a context. And also it just doesn't make any sense. Like, the image generation model is designed that you tell it very succinctly what it is that you want. And so what I did up here is I put another text generation widget here. And I've said, you're an AI assistant specializing in creating high quality, detailed prompts for Stable Diffusion, because that's the model I was using at the time. And we use this prompt here to explain how we want it to output the text. And so we're telling it we're going to include a blog post, and then what we want you to do is output as succinct an output as possible, which is going to be useful for generating the image. And again, this prompt template that we've got here was something that Claude helped me with. So let's take a look at the actual output that it got. It's a hyper-realistic, if we kind of make that a little bit bigger. I can't edit this one because I think it's in share mode, but it's a hyper-realistic.
Mike, what you can do is, on the left-hand side, there is an arrow, on the left-hand side, arrow beside PartyRock. If you slide, no, on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Yes, the top arrow, the top left arrow. Yeah, just click on.
Oh, okay, just to make it a bit bigger. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I don't want to get out of this mode at the moment because I don't want to lose this generation. But yeah, you can see it here. It's a hyper-realistic digital illustration of a sleek, futuristic, smart tea brewing device connected to a holographic AWS cloud interface. And it's a little longer than I would like it, but it is describing what we want in the image, which is really important. So there's things that we could do here to tidy this up a bit. And hey, I think the image it generated was pretty good. And at the end of the day, testing and actually getting the output you want is the ultimate goal. So yeah, I think this passes, right? So I don't know, what do you reckon? Do you fancy the Amazon Elastic Tea service? Should we I send it to a service team to make?
Yes, I think you should share that. As the app is live, you can share that app link in the chat, so audience can have
definitely
while using it.
Have an experiment with it as well. So yes. I can do that. I can click the share button here. I've copied the URL, and I'll put it into private chat, shall I? And then you get to paste it when you want. Oh, thank you very much. Great. Thank you for watching. Great to see you as well, Vishal.
And we have one more from Bhavesh.
Thank you. Perfect. Any tips any questions that you have, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. So
I think this comment is good, where he has having a teapot saying that AWS tea post.
Yeah, nice. Yes, we should have a new blog, creative. Really, shouldn't we? The tea post blog. Yeah. Yes,
that's creative. So Mike, you showed a lot of things. Why don't you talk something about, suppose if I want to use some other model then?
Yeah. Well, let's have a go with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and let's generate. Can we generate a new app? Let's do this.
Yes.
And I'm going to build it manually because I want to do a couple of things here because it just occurred to me whilst we were doing it before. So let's build something pretty simple. But what I'm going to do. Yes, oh, you've got it. Cool. And I'm keen to see what other blog articles we can get out of this as well. So let's go create some stuff. So why don't we create an app here that's actually going to be useful for us? And let's create a prompt template generator that we can use. Now we'll experiment here. We'll see how far we get. We'll create something that we're going to be able to edit over time. So I'm going to come in here and do it completely afresh. First of all, we're going to have this user input. And so this is my user input widget. This is going to be my input prompt. And this will make sense in a minute. Input prompt. There we go. I'll leave placeholder text just for the moment. I'm going to press save on that.
I'm just checking my app, Mike. I think I have also created
you've already made this
prompt generator. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, well, you probably got it better than me, but we'll have a go at doing something live because there's never any problems with doing things live. So I'm going to introduce a text generation widget here, and so this is the prompt I'm going to use for this. If this isn't making sense, then it will do in a minute. Bear with me. So we're going to get rid of this text here and say, oh man, there's a lot of things we could do here. So you are, okay. Here is a prompt that I have created for a Gen AI app that I am making. Review the prompt and suggest changes that will make it perform better, something like that. And then I can say, remember, we're going to do that again, prompt, and we're going to wrap that in something like that. Prompt. Okay. So what we've done there is we are going to say anything that we put into here, we want the tool that we're creating to suggest things that we can do to the prompt to make it better. So let's press save on that. And basically that should be it. There's some tidying up we can do here. But now I need to go and grab a prompt from somewhere, or maybe I'm just going to make one up. You are an expert blog writer. Write a blog post about tea. Let's do that again. Let's just keep it super simple like that, right? So this is the kind of thing that definitely at the beginning of generative AI prompt engineering, people would write something fairly simple and straightforward like that. Let's see what this will do for us. Hoping it will do something more significant. Okay, cool. Here we go. Right, it's gotten itself a little bit confused with itself because of the prompt tags, but that's something we might have to tidy up. Your prompt is very basic and leaves too much room for interpretation, which could lead to inconsistent and overly generic. So it's giving me advice, which is pretty cool. All right, so it's outputted your prompt. So here's the one it's suggesting. You're an expert food and beverage blogger with extensive knowledge of tea culture and history. Write an engaging 5. And you notice how it's much longer. And then it's finished down here. So this is the prompt that it's suggesting for us. This is its prompt it's suggesting for us, which is super useful, right? That's super cool. So we could do all kinds of stuff here, right? And I could take the prompt that I've got from another application, which is bigger, and we could iterate on it further. In fact, I could take that, copy that, paste it into here. Let's do it again. Let's iterate over this a bit more and see what it's going to come up with. So it's generating currently. It's hopefully going to come back with something. There we go. Yeah, So it's digging deeper, and look what it's done. This is a fantastic tip. You wanted a tip from me. Well, here we have a tip from the model that we're using, and it's saying, okay, choose one specific focus, structure the post like this, use a particular writing style. Obviously, I can come in and tweak it. So here's some tips on how to write prompts. They can be long and in depth and include very specific information on how you want to write your blog post. Now, did you manage to find your version of this? And is it far better than mine?
Yeah, not far better. You are master in this. So just 2 cents from I will try to share mine. You tell me how you like it.
Okay, cool.
So I will just add it to the stage.
Yep.
Let me know if you can see my screen. So
I can. Yes.
In this app, what I did is these are the prompt frameworks that I have taught in my prompt engineering tutorial. That is Chain of Thoughts, Horizon, and Roads. So if I say that write a blog on prompt engineering, and I select the framework as COT, that is Chain of Thoughts. So it is going to generate a prompt for me over here, a detailed prompt, along with some visual representation.
Okay, let's have a look. Very fast.
So this is the Chain of Thoughts prompt, which has been created over here.
Yes, there you go.
And just one visual representation. As well as I have a chatbot where if you have any queries in regards to this prompt, you can ask it over here, and it will help you suggest or make any changes onto the existing prompt that has been generated.
That's really awesome. And so I'd be interested to have a look at the prompt behind the prompt generator. Can we have a look at that?
Okay.
There you go.
In this, I am saying that generate a prompt. So this is the first input. Then this is the second input. Then I said that as over here, I have just used prompt frameworks. So there are different kinds of things. So if I say role-based and context-based prompt or zero shot or few shot, those are not prompt frameworks. So these are only the frameworks. That is why I explicitly mentioned prompt engineering framework, because it lies in the category of prompt engineering framework, and it then generates it.
And so and what's really interesting about this is you just put in COT, and obviously that's gone into this prompt as COT prompt engineering framework, and we noticed that the output, it did understand what COT was. And so this is a very important thing for us when we're working with large language models, is that we obviously have to work with the data that the model has when it was trained. So obviously when this model was trained, I didn't see what model it was, but when this model was trained, it was Claude. Yeah. So Claude Sonnet 3.5 version 2 is very relatively new model. In fact, all of these are relatively new. And so it's just whether the model knows what chain of thought is or not. But obviously it does in this particular case. So
let me change the image for Amazon Nova Canvas, and for this I have Amazon Micro. Let's see. So this is Micro now. Okay, the model is Micro. I will just save it. So just have a look, guys. This is the kind of prompt which gets generated. So now let's try it with Amazon Nova Micro. Okay.
There you go.
So this
and broadly speaking, and there's experimentation that can be done here, but broadly speaking, my intuition would be that if you're targeting a particular model, then use that model or a larger version of that model to help you write the prompt for that model. So that probably makes sense. But what you just did there, obviously, is the thing that we haven't done on this particular stream yet, which is to look where you can select the models and the fact that you can change those models as well.
Yes. So I will leave it to you, Mike. You are the master.
Oh God, that was a far more your app was far more comprehensive than mine. Mine was very, 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 very straightforward. Let's have a look at that again. That place where you can see the models, because obviously part of what we're talking about here is how do you actually choose the different models. these models here are all Amazon Bedrock models, and it's a subset actually of what's available inside of Amazon Bedrock, but it's ones that make sense for PartyRock to have. And you see over at the side, it's got these different bar charts. You may have spoken about this before, but it's worth just mentioning them one more time. So these are a rough guide as to essentially the complexity of the model, which you could then sort of extrapolate out to be the intelligence of the model, but also the cost of the model as well. And so it's when you come to do something in production, this is something which obviously you'll want to know about. The fewer blocks here, the cheaper the model, and most likely the faster the model. I think that's the case in all of these. The more blocks, the more comprehensive and more intelligent the answer you might get, and the more you have to pay for that as well. So that's part of the selection criteria for when you're choosing a model. That's the first one, I guess. The other part, of course, is the modality of the model and what it'll actually do. When it comes to model selection, I mean, whilst you might want to do a lot of experimentation inside of PartyRock, there is some awesome documentation over inside of the Amazon Bedrock console page. So I could just jump over to there and take a quick look. So you can sign up to AWS, obviously, without paying anything. You can also start to look around the documentation, of course, without paying anything. But if we go to model catalog here, this is actually so much more comprehensive than it used to be. So if you haven't looked at this for a few months, or you haven't looked at it since reInvent, come back and have a look, because there's a lot going on here. But if we want to start to find models, we can use this search criteria down the side here. I've noticed that you've been pushing the little windows with us around the screen just so that people can see things. Now would be a great time if you could do that again, because I'd like to show what's underneath my head currently, if that's easy to do. Is that something that we can do? Actually, I can slide it up a little bit as well. Dheeraj, is that something we can do? Can we push my head aside to the other side or something?
So now we are moving towards Amazon Bedrock or Agentic AI? What exactly you're talking about?
No, you're missing my point. The window with me in it, is it possible to shift that away from the console so I can show more things? Because I noticed you were doing that before. And there you go. Yeah, cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, we get to filter. I just wanted to talk about model selection just before we moved on to anything other and more exciting. So with this, you actually get to do some filtering out so that you can try and find models which are suitable for what you want. And so you could do it by provider, of course. So we could go and filter out for just the Amazon models, for example. But you can also do it by this modality, is what we were talking about before. So we have embeddings models, just image models, and there are the ones, the Titan image generation models. There's other ones that we can get. How do we get the other ones up? So there's Nova Lite and Nova Pro come in because they can do text and vision and then more text. We can also put this in a list, and you can start to compare and contrast the different attributes, including things like the maximum tokens and things like that. So when it comes to choosing a model, you can have an understanding about the kind of thing that you want to do. Are you going to be looking at images and text, or just text? Is the output going to be just text? Do you want something which is going to be able to pass through a very large document or a small document? And you can get that kind of idea. You can come to this table and you can say, okay, there are certain values, there are certain models here that I want to experiment with, and trim down the selection criteria, if that makes sense. So then you can go off and do it somewhere else. So I just wanted to show that list. Yeah. So anyway, I've talked a lot there. Yeah, I do. I have one more application left. Would you like to have a look at that one? Should we have?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So I can I don't have any time limit. We can go for the entire day itself.
Sure. I mean, the evening is getting on. At some point, I will need to sleep. But I'm talking about generative AI, and it's my favorite thing to do. Let's have a look at this one. This is the one I want to talk about here. It's called Outfit Planner. Now, this is a recreation of an app that someone I know very well in Brisbane here where I live created an app just like this. And I kind of liked it, but I wanted to experiment with it a little bit. So here we go. The idea is that we can put in our location and it will help to figure out what outfit we might want to wear given the weather. Okay, so let's say that we're in India. We're going to go back to where we were before. And I'm going to run this app and see what happens. Now, it's got a weather box up here. Here's the weather for Pune. But notice how it's come out with winter, summer, monsoon, post-monsoon, and it's probably about right, but it's not the weather that's happening right now this second, and we need to come back to that. And so it's come back and said, okay, basically it's come up with something super generic that could be worn at this location, and it's given us a picture of it as well, which is pretty good. That seems pretty reasonable. Does that seem pretty reasonable? I think that's pretty reasonable for the climate that's often there.
Yes.
So this is where we start to reach the boundaries of the kind of thing that PartyRock can do for us. So PartyRock is not able to, or the model which is behind the scenes of PartyRock here, is not able to figure out what the actual weather is like right now this second, because it doesn't have the ability to be able to reach out to the outside world. So if we have a look at this, if we have a look at the weather widget here, it says, write specifics for the typical weather for the following location. We are asking it to only include one temperature, the humidity, and things like that. We're trying to limit it down just so that we've got the facts. And that's what it did, right? That's what it did. But it also did it for all of the seasons that it could think of, because it's aware of, I don't actually know what it is right now. And then our outfit widget, it's pretty simple, this one. Describe the outfit that I could wear at this particular location, given this weather. Super simple. But what can we do? How can we get an application like this to actually be able to actually understand the actual weather right now? And I guess one way to do that would be to include a widget here, which is a text input where I could type it in. But the point of this app, I guess, is to automate this flow. I don't want to have to type it in. I want the app to figure it out for ourselves. And we can do that with agentic workflows. Now, we can't do agentic workflows inside of PartyRock, but it's the next step on, I think, for creating sophisticated applications. And if you would like, I can show you an application I've created in Bedrock, which actually uses agentic workflows. Should we do that?
Let's do it.
So I have a companion application here that I happen to already have loaded because I was hoping you said that you would like to have a look. So this is the Outfit Assistant Agent. And so this is an application, an agentic workflow built inside of Amazon Bedrock, which is actually going to actually do this for us. So if I come down to the entering the message on the bottom right here, I'm going to say again, Pune, India, and I'm going to click run. Now what happens is essentially I'm in a little chat session here, but as part of this chat session, it's going to actually go away and query the weather in that location and then come back with an answer for us. So let's see what we've got here. It says, all right. I've lost my screen. There we go. It says, all right. Based on the current time of 8:33 p.m., is that right? That doesn't sound right. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, it says 8:33 p.m. We'll have a look. We'll debug.
Yeah,
is it right?
That's right. Yeah.
It is. Okay. Because it's half an hour out of okay. Phew. I thought for a minute it didn't work. Okay. So based on the current time of 8:33 p.m. And the weather conditions in Pune, India, with a temperature of 25.55 degrees C, it's very specific. And then 31% humidity actually sounds quite nice, actually. I could tell you. So I'm in Brisbane, Australia, and today it was way hotter than that. So I think we should all go over there. Anyway, here's what I recommend wearing for the evening. I'd suggest something, and so it knows we're in the evening, right? I suggest something a bit more dressed up, and it's saying a nice blouse, button-up shirt paired with some tailored pants and skirt or whatever. I mean, we haven't been specific on the type of outfit we want to wear, but whatever. Anyway, let's go and see how this worked. I want to show you. So if I'm going to click Edit Agent Builder here, let's jump into this. So here we have a name for it. Here we have a large language model. So Claude 3 Haiku. We can select that inside of PartyRock. We can do that part. So we're saying which model we want to use. And then we have these instructions for the agent. So this essentially is some prompt engineering here. And you'll notice as well that this prompt is really quite long. Again, I used Claude to actually help me write this. And it's got some examples in here of the kind of thing that we want to see. So it's actually few shot, which you've done on this channel as well. But I say, you're Claude, you're a fun and friendly personal assistant with a stylish personality. Your goal is to help other users decide what to wear based on the time, location, and weather. Okay, so it gets that. But what we need to do is we need to give it access to some tools that it can use to reach out to the outside world to be able to figure out this weather information. And so let's go and have a look at that. We have that inside of what we call an action group inside of this agent. So if I click that, and I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here, we're going to get into the guts of this. So we've got 3 different tools which are available to this agentic workflow. And the large language model is being given instructions to say, if you want to get some data, here are some tools that you can use to go and get that data. So we have one that's called get coordinates, the get coordinates one. Now, there's a reason for this, and that's because the weather API that we're going to use needs to have a coordinate, latitude and longitude, to get the weather. And so we've got one here that's called get coordinates. So this takes in a place name and will return some coordinates, some latitude and longitude. So super useful. We'll look at the code behind that very, very briefly if you want as well. We have one which is get current time. So of course, you can't, the model, the large language model, doesn't have any information from the outside world, including the time. It almost seems bizarre that it wouldn't know that, but it doesn't. So what we have here is a get time function where we pass in the latitude and longitude, because time zones are a thing, and it uses the latitude and longitude that it's got to find the time. And then finally, we've got get current weather. So it gets to use all of these tools. It gets to take the place name, get the coordinates. From the coordinates, we can get the time, and from the coordinates, we can get the weather. And then from the weather and the time, we can figure out what to wear. And this is the beauty of an agentic workflow, is that what I've just described there is kind of a little bit complex. It takes some decision making. What about if I said, I'm in Pune, India, and I want to know what to wear in the morning? Then in that case, it wouldn't have bothered getting the time. It would have just looked at what the weather currently is like and made some determination. So it does it for itself. It figures out its own orchestration of how things are going to work. Super powerful. Super exciting. So if I scroll back up here, the way that this works is that these tools that we've got are actually all backed onto Lambda functions. I'm not going to go into this a huge amount of detail because I don't think we have time. But if I just jump quickly into the Lambda function, you'll get to see it. And by the way, I'm going to share all of this code with you as well. So you get to take this away and build this if you want to. If you want to, it will cost something to run, of course, but if you want to, you can. So I'm just going to scroll down here into the console page, make this a little bit bigger so hopefully we can see it. What we have is, it's a fairly simple setup. We have our main function handler here, which basically gets the request, from the agent and says, what function do you want to call? And so it's got the ability to do get coordinates, get current time, or get current weather. So the large language model will figure out which tool it wants to use, and it will wrap up everything into a nice little payload for it with all of the parameters it wants, either the place name or the latitude and longitude. And then we've just got some code that does it. So here is the coordinate finder. So this actually uses Boto 3, and we have a service, a location service as part of AWS. I'd not actually used it before, but I used it as part of this service, as part of this project. So we use this location service. You just pass in a name, it provides you with latitude, longitude. And that's fairly simple code. This returns that back to the large language model. Similarly, we've got time finder. It's using this PyTZ, this Python time zone, to just convert latitude and longitude to time. And then we've got weather finder as well. And if you do decide that you want to have a go with this, you do need an API key for the open weather service, but it's completely free. And there are instructions that I can provide for how to get one of those as well. But this just takes so your latitude and longitude goes to open weather map and grabs some weather data. So it's grabbing it in real time. And I think this is super exciting. And I really enjoy playing around with this. And I like how it sort of shows how you can sort of graduate on from PartyRock. When you start to find the limits of PartyRock, you can say, okay, now we can go and build a production application that will step one step further. So there you go. Hopefully that was interesting. Anyway.
Yes, fantastic. So I think you explained the entire journey, that if you are exploring, start with AWS PartyRock. And once you are going towards the advanced level where you hit the limitation of AWS PartyRock, then this is Amazon Bedrock is the right tool for you guys to go ahead and explore more in terms of real-time updates, which we are looking for. So thank you so much, Mike. I think that is a cherry on the top for this live stream.
Excellent. So I've just dropped the link to a GitHub repository, which has got all of the code that we've just been looking at. So if you wanted to share that with people, then they can go and use that if they wish.
Yes, it's shared.
There you
go. And this is the GitHub repo that, Mike, you have shared. And this is the other one, that is the app that you shared, News Blogger. And this is the one that you had shared for the deep learning AI course. But Mike, you said there are 2 to 3 courses, but you have just shared one specific link. Do you want to share more?
So that link that you've just shared there should actually show 3 courses off that link.
Okay, understood. So I don't think we have any questions in the comment box that we need to address. It was all the comments, which was like, it is too good. So I think we are well sorted, and the message that we wanted to pass to our audience is well channeled towards them. So Mike, before we end this live stream, is there anything else you would like to conclude before we go ahead and end the stream?
Look, I think just experiment with generative AI. PartyRock's a great place to start. Have fun with it. And if anybody's got any questions, please reach out and let me know. If there is anybody watching on the west coast of the US at the moment, then I do have a plug to give, if I may. So I've mentioned deep learning AI a couple of times during this, and I do work quite closely with them. They actually have their very first AI development conference that they've just announced. And so it's very soon. So they've just announced it. It's very soon. It's selling out fast. I'll be there, and my colleagues from AWS will be there as well. So AI Dev 25, the very first of the AI developer conferences from Deep Learning AI. I'm really excited for this. So yeah, I'll be coming over to West Coast. If you are there, maybe we have a chance to catch up.
Sure, Mike, definitely. Thank you for sharing. So is there any link that you want to share?
Yeah, I'll just literally copy and paste the link to this. If you just go to the Deep Learning AI website, it is linked on their homepage as well. But this seems to be the deep link to go straight into this page, get some details from there, and yeah, I'll be posting more about it on LinkedIn as well. So if you want to I'm sure a lot of people are connected with me on LinkedIn already. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here for so long. It was a long session for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sandhya. I hope I am pronouncing your name in the right way. So thank you so much for being live for so long. And thank you, Mike, for joining the live stream. It was really an honor to have you on this live stream, sharing with my audience what should be their focus while they are doing prompt engineering and how they can use the AWS PartyRock playground and elevate their knowledge of interacting with LLMs that we have available, like the models we have in AI powered widget, in image powered widget, as well as we have a chatbot powered widget. So I will share that specific prompt app with you, Mike, because right now it is still private. I have not yet made it
Yes.
public. That is the reason it won't be
Well,
available to anyone.
that's the other thing. We sort of didn't quite mention that properly there. If you do build stuff on PartyRock, share it with us so that we get to see it as well, because there is a share button, and just like we're sharing it with you, share it back with us and with the rest of the community as well.
Yes. So Mike, do you want to just quickly show that if you have it open? So
yeah, I can try to do that. Yeah, so if I go to my apps here, I think, so if we've got one of the apps that I've already got in here, you can come up to here, you can create snapshots, you can remix others, and you can go ahead and share it. So is that the best way to show that? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just right up there at the top right. And so you can also take other people's that have been shared and you can remix it. You can do all kinds of stuff. Super fun.
Yes. Thank you, Mike, for sharing, and thank you for being live on the stream with me.
Thank you so much for having me here. Thanks for inviting me. It's been so much fun. Thank you for everybody who is watching as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you guys for joining the live stream, and it's time now to say goodbye. See you in the next live stream that we will have in the next week with more detailed talks about AI, ML models, and a lot more onto prompt engineering. So see you guys, and bye for now. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.